for another video. I'm Jess, and as you know, I'm one of the creative designers here at Sizzix, and today I want to show you guys, I'm already mid-making, I've started because I'm so excited to make, but I'm going to show you guys how to make some home decor pieces actually using one of our brand new Bigz Dies. So this is actually our Doodle Leaves Bigz Die. So a Bigz Die is our steel rule die, so you can get all sorts of fabulous materials from something like this, and that's what I want to show you, the versatility and how many things you can actually do with this. And it has some beautiful leaves on it, and everybody knows I'm a sucker for foliage and leaves and things like that, so it's right up my street. So actually I've already started to prep my cardstock, and how I'm doing this is I'm popping some adhesive sheets on the back, but I just wanted to show you the colours that I'm using. So I'm going down the green route for my foliage. I've got two types of coloured cardstock. So we've got a dark green, which is our eucalyptus, and the lighter green, which is our pear colour from the muted cardstock pack. And I've already actually popped one of the Sizzix adhesive sheets on the back of this pear colour here. And this is what our Sizzix adhesive sheets look like, in case you haven't seen them. And then all you need to do is just peel off the layer, the top layer here, and then it is sticky. So I'm going to stick this on the back of both pieces of cardstock, like so. Okay, and then I'm going to leave my darker one as is, so I'm going to leave it just with one layer, but actually for my lighter green colour, I'm going to pop another sheet over the top, okay? And this is because I'm going to use some glitter. We all love glitter, all love a bit of sparkle, and this is a fantastic way of adhering glitter really, really smoothly to your cardstock. So we're going to pop two layers of this, so we've like sandwiched our cardstock in between there, so it's going to be sticky on both sides, okay? But before we add any glitter or anything like that, I want to cut them. So obviously I'm going to use that Bigz Die, and the great thing about Bigz Dies is you can cut more than one layer at once. So I can actually cut both of these at the same time, which is fabulous if you're making something and you want lots of the same dye or something like that. You're making for a party or something where you want multiples and you want loads of them at once. This is going to save you tons of time. So you just want to sandwich it. Actually, I just want to point that out. With a steel rule die, with a Bigz Die, you want to just use your two clear plastic plates. And this one you can use it with every single one of our machines. So don't worry whether you've got a Big Shot Plus, a Switch, anything like that, this is going to work with all of those. So we're just going to roll that through. And then we have our beautiful leaves. So we've obviously got this one where we've just got the adhesive on the back, so you can see it's coloured on one side and then it's actually white on the other side, so this is where the adhesive is, and we are actually going to peel that off later as we go through our project. And then you do also have obviously the smaller size leaf, like so, and then this one which is adhesive on both sides, and you've got the cardstock in the middle. Okay, so let's get rid of our excess. And I want to show you these first. I'm going to show you how you can cut other materials and different things as well, but I want to show you, I'm going to glitter these and use some embossing powder, which I have hidden under the desk. So these are our muted coloured glitters and embossing powders. So these actually go along with those cardstocks, which is fantastic because you don't have to worry about colour matching, which is great, and it just saves a ton of time. So with these ones, so literally from one layer, I'm going to peel back one side of the adhesive. Don't worry if it rips, just peel it all back. And then I'm going to place it in my funnel tray, because this is where it's going to get fun. We're going to add all of the glitter. And again, just pop it in your funnel tray. If it does stick to your fingers, don't worry too much. And then I'm going to get the corresponding glitter out. So this is the eucalyptus colour, so that matches that darker green. And then this is the pear coloured glitter, which matches obviously the pear coloured cardstock. Ooh, I feel like there's glitter floating everywhere. Not that I'm mad about that. And then you just literally want to take your glitter and sprinkle it all over the top of there. So it's nice and coated. And this is why we use a funnel tray to save any excess, because obviously I've just chucked the whole pot of glitter in there to make sure it's all covered, but I don't want to waste any. So as soon as I pick these out, which I should have got a pair of tweezers for, but if I just give them a bit of a shake, and all the glitter is attached perfectly on there. There's not a spot missing. That's the problem if you're using glue with something that you want to completely cover, something like a die cut piece. If you try and cover it in glue, you're going to have little patches where it's more concentrated than others. This just gives you a really, really nice, thin, even application. So that's the kind of thing that we are looking for. And how stunning is that colour of glitter? Like, I'm just going to get this big piece out, which again, I should have used tweezers to pick them out. There we go. Just give it a bit of a tap underneath and that'll get rid of any of the excess, but you'll still have a full sheet so it looks like amazing glitter cardstock. But I do think using actual glitter just gives it that really special effect. So those are our glitter ones. And then we can emboss the other ones. So I'm just going to pop the excess in here without spilling any of it, hopefully. But you can see how I chucked out pretty much a whole pot of glitter there. But because I saved so much, I bet it looks like I barely used any, which is fantastic because it means you can make multiple projects with tons and tons of glitter. So moving on to the darker ones. So if I wanted to, and what I have done throughout my home decor piece is I have mixed and matched the glitter and the embossing powder. So I have got glittered ones with the darker colour. So that is this colour. So just for reference, that is what it looks like when it's applied all over the die cut. Again, stunning. But I actually want to emboss this one just to show you a variety of techniques and ways you can use these kind of muted making essentials. So for that, we're going to bring in that second tower that I pulled up. And again, the colours match. So I'm going to take that eucalyptus colour. This is the embossing powder. And to use this, what you want to do is you want to take one of our clear embossing ink pads, okay? I have actually used mine, so it is a little dirty, but that's fine. What I want to do is literally, I'm going to place the cardstock part, so the coloured part, into the embossing ink pad, and it's going to coat that. It will feel sticky on your hands, so just bear that in mind. Maybe have a towel or some hand wipes nearby, but don't worry, it comes off pretty easy, so it's not an issue. And you can see hopefully how that's just coating it, so you'll see it's darken, okay? And we want to make sure that that's really nice and coated, so make sure you really pressed it firmly into there. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with that. And then I can bring back that funnel tray, and I'm going to take that embossing powder and again sprinkle that all over here. Doing the same with the glitter, making sure it's all coated. I'm just going to do one for now because these ones do take a little longer. Put that to one side. Again, pick that up. Usually, again, I would use my tweezers. And then I'm going to place that on to my silicone mat because this is heat resistant. So I'm just going to move that to one side. So this is heat resistant because we're actually going to heat this now. Okay, let me grab my heat gun. And this is going to sort of melt together and it's going to form a really nice, I think this one's slightly shiny top coat almost. Just keep moving your heat tool around and you'll see the colour start to change. How pretty is that? I think I'm pretty happy with that. So it doesn't take very long, especially if you're using the higher heat setting, but you will get this kind of effect with your embossing powder, which is beautiful. Just in comparison, this is the lighter colour cardstock, so this is the pear colour and the pear embossing powder. So just for reference, that's how different they look. You can go over the top because you might see I've got a few little dots here, which is probably because I did use a higher heat setting. If you use a lower one, you're probably less likely to get that. But if you have got that, you can just press it back into the clear embossing ink pad, apply another coat of embossing powder and heat it again, and you're going to get those layers that build up. It's going to be smoother and it's going to kind of get an enamel effect almost. So that's just a tip if you've missed spots or spots aren't looking exactly how you want it to, then that's something you can do. I'm just going to wipe my hands, and then I think I've almost got all the pieces that I wanted. I have actually pre-cut a few of these pieces already before you joined me, so that's not it. There we go. Using some of our silver texture roll. Again, I pop the adhesive sheets on the back because it just makes it 10 times easier, and this is a really nice thick material, and that's why Bigz are fantastic for cutting with this. So I wanted that for a little bit of metallic, and then I'm going to show you guys this in kind of another extra little side make after I've done this one in a little bit more detail. But what I've actually done is I've taken some of our felt and I've popped some of our iron-on adhesive on the back of it, and I'm going to show you guys how this works when I come to make my second project. But actually I'm going to cut this, so let's just quickly cut one of these out. And I've attached the adhesive on the iron-on adhesive on the back because it gives the felt a little bit more structure. So it means that when you die cut felt, particularly say with this one where you've got some of the pieces where it's quite thin in areas, this is going to help it all stay together. It's not going to pull apart or anything like that. So it just helps a lot, because obviously I'm not using the adhesive here to iron onto fabric. That's what you would use it for, and that will give you a hint as to what I'm making next. But this is, I'm just using it in the sense of it's going to give my felt structure. But again, because I've used a big die, how quickly does that cut out? And it just looks so clean. And that's, I think, again, what the iron-on adhesive does as well, is it gives you a really nice clean cut. It helps with that clean cut with felt, so you won't get any frayed edges or anything like that. So that is something to consider when you are cutting felt. Okay, so I'm going to use all these little pieces that I've actually cut and shown you guys how to do, and I'm going to create a panel that is going to go onto my home decor piece. And it's going to be so super easy, because on the back of almost everything, except for this one where I'm obviously not ironing onto paper, I'm going to glue these ones down. But on the back of all my cardstock ones and the textural ones, I have applied a layer of adhesive on the back. So I can literally just peel this off, super easy. And I'm going to arrange these, sort of peeking in, some more than others, on to my panel. And don't worry if they're hanging off, because we're going to trim those off in the next little bit. So I might just actually place some of these down and kind of position them where I want them. So you can just take your time, just play around with what you think looks good. I might pop my felt one there. What else? Oh, I've got my silver ones as well. I feel like I'm going to pop my silver one down here, and then maybe my glittery one up here. So let's just adhere those. And then don't worry if you've got a few left over, because obviously you've cut the bigger kind of palm leaf shape and the smaller one at the same time for pretty much every material. That's fine, because we're going to actually do 3 of these panels. So you're just going to use the others for the other panels. So don't worry about having any waste, because you're definitely not. And even like the ones that are just peeking in, once we trim them off, you can use that other end on another panel. So it's all gonna come in super handy. So let's just pop that on here. And again, don't worry, I think I said before, if this adhesive doesn't come off in one layer, that's fine. It's just, it'll come off, just keep peeling. Okay, and I think the only one I need to stick down with a little bit of glue is my felt one. So I've got my hot glue gun somewhere, but I don't have any hot glue in it. Give me a second, I will find some hot glue. I have found some hot glue sticks. There's never any around when you want it, so luckily we managed to find some. So all I'm gonna do with this one is just apply little bits of hot glue to the back of the felt and then position that where I want it. Careful of your fingers. I've actually only hot glued the front, so I'm just going to peel it back and just add a little bit more glue as I go. I just like to use things like hot glue for things like felt because it's a little bit more secure, but in hindsight, I'm pretty sure I could have attached my felt to cardstock using the adhesive sheets that we use for everything else, and then I could have attached the cardstock to the base. So that's totally an option as well. So now I'm just going to give that a bit of a shake. Get rid of all that excess glitter. A good tip to actually get rid of any glitter that's not stuck down is take a clean paintbrush and you can just run it over those areas and that'll get it all off. But I'm just going to spin it round and snip all these pieces off. And I spin it round just so I know that I'm going to get a clean line on the other side. I just find it easier this way. You could use a guillotine or something like that if you prefer, if you're not as confident with cutting these bits off in a straight line, but it doesn't have to be perfect, guys. That's why we craft, that's why we make. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay for it to not to be 1000% perfect or professional, because we enjoyed making it, and that is the main thing at the end of the day. And just trimming these bits off. Nothing fancy about it. They will stick to your scissors a little bit because they're covered in that adhesive though. And you'll end up with a panel that looks, let's pick that bit off, something like that, okay? Now, I could go in and I could have filled more of the areas, but I wanted quite a lot of white space, so that's completely up to you. Let's just move these to one side. But if you keep going and you make 3 of those, okay, and then back them onto some cards, so literally just like that, we've just popped those kind of panels, popped them in a frame on some cardstock backing. And look how stunning that looks. I think this would be perfect if you maybe have a little one in your family and they've got maybe a jungle themed room or something like that. Or actually, I think this would even look nice in like a teenage bedroom, an adult's bedroom, and you could even change up the colours and you could even do neutrals if you wanted to, and make it a little bit more sophisticated. I've actually got green foliage prints on my wall in my kitchen. So I would probably have this in my kitchen. I just think it looks really nice. It looks super professional. You've got so many fun techniques in there that you've had lots of fun playing around with. You can pick and choose which ones you like best, and you can have a lot of fun personalising that. So actually that is the first home decor piece using that Bigz Die. I'm gonna quickly clean up and then I'm gonna show you guys the second make. Okay guys, so I've completely set up everything for my second make, and you can probably tell by the ironing board, the iron, the felt, we're doing a kind of soft crafts applique style, because obviously with those Bigz Dies you can cut fabric, and I showed you that we cut the felt, and that's why I wanted to show you actually adhering it to fabric and actually making something that can maybe go along with your framed piece, and you can pop them all in the same room and you can just be a leafy room. We have a travelly room, well we call it a travelly room at home, like it's our spare room, and we decorate with all things that we've been travelling with, so maybe you could have a leaf room, who knows. But off track. What I've again done is I've attached some of the iron-on adhesive to some piece of felt, but I actually wanted to show you guys how it works. So I'm just going to take an extra piece of felt. So I've just got a little piece here. And this is the iron-on adhesive. And it comes wrapped up like so. Let's kind of fold it out. That is the only downside to this with me having this kind of workspace. I'd probably do it on the floor if we weren't filming, because it's quite big, which is great because it obviously means you get more. But it has two sides to it. So it has kind of a more matte side and then a shiny side. And there's actually a sticker on the shiny side that says do not iron. Do not iron on the shiny side. I literally did this 2 days ago. Yes, I still make these mistakes. I was making this and I went to iron it on and I pressed my iron into the sticky side, and then I spent the next 2 hours cleaning the sticky stuff off my iron. So please don't do that. So I tend to cut around this little sticker, or you can peel it off and stick it back on after you've cut a section off. So I remind myself which side to iron on, because even though crafting is my job and I do it every single day, like I said, I still make mistakes, I still do things wrong, I still need reminding, so that is perfectly normal. Do not worry. You can get the sticky stuff off your iron with some elbow grease, so don't panic too much if it does happen to you, but you should be able to visibly see the difference. And actually you'll see it almost peel away on one side, so we don't want to stick iron on that side because that is an actual glue. So when we apply heat, it's going to adhere to whatever we applied it to. So obviously if we put the iron straight onto it, it's going to melt onto the iron. So we're going to place that down. If you are worried about your iron, you can always then cover it with a tea towel. Obviously not one that you're precious about, but you can do it that way. So you want to turn your iron on. I had mine heating up, and you want to apply the heat. The only thing with obviously doing it through a tea towel or a towel is you're going to have to apply a lot more heat and a lot more pressure. If I literally just go over it like this, you'll see it. You see there's little crinkles forming? That is the glue adhering and melting to the felt. Okay, and just make sure that's nice and heated up, so that when we lift that off, it's not going to go anywhere. Okay, so when we lift that, this is one now. Okay, so from there you will obviously die cut that. So I'd literally just place that on there and run that through like I showed you previously how we cut out the felt. You can do multiple layers of that as well, so don't feel like you just have to do one layer at a time, but you can do several and layer them up and it should cut perfectly fine. You could even roll it through a couple of times if you're a bit worried about certain areas not cutting. And then you'll end up with these where you've got that little white layer on the back, and then you can peel that off and you'll feel that there's like a slight sort of sticky, actually it's not sticky to touch, but it's like a slight shiny material that is obviously melted and attached to your felt, so that is the actual glue. So I'm going to bring back my cushion cover that I have almost finished. I just wanted to finish it off with you guys on camera. I had a lot of fun actually making this. I love doing embroidery, like hand embroidery. It can be a bit frustrating sometimes, but it's really rewarding and I actually really like it. So I'll talk through all the embroidery and show you guys a little bit as well. But when you're adhering these, you just literally want to take off that paper backing. It'll come off really easy, and then we'll get that shiny side that we talked about, and then just pop that onto your cushion where you want it. So I've obviously got those thinner ones as well. Again, just peeling that white layer off and you get that shiny bit. I think I might have this one here like this, and just kind of arrange where you're happy. And then again, we can go over and apply heat. This is probably the time where it's probably a really good idea to use your tea towel if you are a bit nervous, because sometimes if you apply a little bit too much heat, it can obviously melt the fabric. So again, just be super cautious, take your time. There is no need to rush. And with the application of heat, that sticky, I keep saying sticky, that shiny backing, it will become sticky and obviously then adhere to the fabric underneath. But again, just take your time. You can kind of hold it to a certain degree. Obviously not too long, because then you might burn your fabric, like I said. I'm sure we've all burnt an item of clothing before. I remember vividly, I went and bought a brand new top when I was a lot younger now, and it was made from like a chiffon fabric, and I tried to iron it just before I went out on a night out or something like that, and I completely ruined it and made a massive hole in it because I ironed it all wrong. So my younger self learned a valuable lesson that day. But yeah, maybe share your disastrous ironing experiences if you ever had one down below. So, and just with that application of heat, just really pressing it in there, holding it down, it will all form to your fabric underneath. So that is all in place then. If you feel like certain areas are peeling away or something like that, don't worry, just go back over it with the heat, or you can even use a hot glue gun and you can apply a little bit of hot glue to the back of these and then stick them down. So that is how you apply felt with the iron-on adhesive, or any fabric for that matter. You don't have to use felt. You could use some gorgeous pattern fabric or something like that. And then the very last thing that I want to do is I want to add a little bit of stitching. So I'm just going to take some of this embroidery thread. So embroidery thread is slightly thicker, quite a bit thicker actually than regular thread that you maybe use on your sewing machine or you use to patch up any old clothes. It's a bit more for decoration, I would say. So you want a slightly thicker needle as well in this case, because you're obviously using a thicker thread. Let's thread that up. Okay guys, I've literally just finished stitching that, so let's just move some of this stuff out of the way, and I have a cushion ready to pop inside. So just pop this in here. You can actually use just wadding or stuffing as well if you don't have a cushion the right shape or size, or you want to fill it out a little bit more. And then we have our finished cushion. How adorable is that? And me and James, the cameraman, were just chatting and saying how, oh, we could have like a leaf room. These kind of things would be fantastic for people who are prone to killing their regular plants in their house, their living plants. So if you've got, if you haven't got any real plants in your house, and I'm the same, I only have potted plants in my house, and fake plants because I can't keep anything else alive other than my dog. This would be a really nice way of adding some greenery into your home for sure. So literally I just did a straight running stitch along all of the larger palm leaves, and then as you can see I just did some hand embroidery and made up some little flowers in there as well, and then finished them off with a little silver bead. These are really, really easy to do, even if you're not a stitcher, you're not into embroidery or anything like that. Super, super easy to do. There's tons of tutorials and stuff online, but if you do want me to show you a few embroidery techniques, then let me know. I'm more than happy to do so and do that in detail if you would like. So we have, let's move some of this stuff down. So we have our cushion, we have our frame. How cute. And actually, I also have what I made for some of our photography. I actually also have a lampshade, which I did with some of our felt, and then I also stenciled it with some of our stencil film, which I think I've got down here actually. So yeah, I just cut that die with some of our stencil film. I attached it onto the lamp. Let's just pop this down so I can not reaching over. I attached it on with the lamp. We're using some repositionable spray mount so it would come off, and then I stenciled through there with some of our acrylic paint, which I've got behind here actually. So again, in the same kind of colours, and then peeled away the stencil film, and then you're left with some of these gorgeous little leaves. So that is definitely something you could do if you're really going for that leafy vibe. Then that would be really, really adorable. I wish I could show you it on a lamp base. I have some wonderful pictures that our lovely photographer Brandon has taken with this lamp. Maybe James can insert a picture. if I ask nicely, maybe there, maybe not, but I'm sure it'll be across our socials. And it looked amazing with the lamp base, but the lamp base was one of mine from home, and I bought it in for the pictures and then took it back. And then that weekend, my lovely little dog, Indy, got very excited, was waggling her bum and knocked over the lamp and smashed it everywhere. So I don't have a lamp base that works for it right now, but you can imagine it on a lamp. You could even hang or something like that. I think that would be really adorable. And how cute are all those together? Like I said, if you're really going for that vibe, I think they work beautifully. There's some really, really fun techniques in there that you can have a lot of fun playing with, and then you could even change up the colours and go for a more neutral theme or something like that, because I think foliage, even though it is obviously a green kind of thing, I think you can have a lot of fun changing up and making it a little bit more funky and colourful if you wanted to. So I think that is everything from me today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. If you do recreate any of these, or you get anything over on our website, then please share images of your makes and your inspiration across all of our social. I believe it is the hashtag #MyMakingStory, and you can share your makes with us, and we love to see them. We love to see what you guys get up to, and yeah, if anybody makes a leaf themed room using these dies and these ideas, I would love to see it. That would make my day. But again, thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one, but until then, stay safe and keep crafting. Thanks, bye.